Hello and welcome to Knox First Tuesday number 82, Put on a Smile by Daryl Davis. I'm shooting this introduction on the set of our consumer video, Preparing Your Home to Sell. Now in this Knox First Tuesday, you'll hear a presentation by fellow national speaker Daryl Davis. Now you may have heard him speak at various conventions around the United States. Now in addition to speaking, he is also an author and recently released his third book, How to Design a Life Worth Smiling About. I hope this puts a smile on your face. Let's go to the studio and join Daryl.
So yes, I want to talk to you about the benefits of smiling because let me tell you something. I think all of us, what we want in our lives is to be happier, to feel more joy and excitement and passion. And so as I started to research what it meant to be happy in one's life, I was actually shocked to discover that there are so many studies done on the actual act of just smiling. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these studies because that would just be so boring. But I do want to share with you specifically how smiling, the benefits of smiling for you and your personal life and your career. Now, first of all, I want to ask you a question. And the question is this: what are feelings? You know, when you feel joy, when you feel happiness, or when you feel sad or angry or upset, where is that occurring? Is it happening in your elbow? Of course not. It's actually happening in the brain. I remember going to a seminar in the 80s, and the speaker said, you know, if I opened up your brain, I could not see love, I could not see joy, I could not see happiness. Well, maybe back in the 80s that was true, but today, with science and medical advancements, doctors, medical industry, they can actually see feelings. That whenever we feel happiness, joy, or stress, anxiousness, passion, enthusiasm, these are actually medical occurrences in the brain, that there's something happening. So when you have feelings, it's actually occurring in the brain. And here's a little side note. You know when you ever get that little butterfly in your stomach because you're going on an appointment or you're going to do a presentation, you're a little nervous, the throat gets a little tighter, your heart beats, the stomach, the butterflies, that's actually starting in the brain through the vagus nerve, and it spreads those chemicals throughout those areas in your body. It all starts in the brain. Now, let's take a look at those feel-good chemicals that we're talking about. There are 4 chemicals associated with happiness and feeling good. It's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So when you're feeling excited or happy, those are the chemicals at work. Now the question is, and by the way, here's what I did, because I'm not a very smart person. So to remember those chemicals, I created an acronym. And the acronym is DOSE. You see that on the screen there? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. So every time that you're feeling good, you're giving your brain a dose of these 4 feel chemicals. Now the question is, what actually triggers these 4 chemicals? Well, it's actually, I'll share this. We have in our face over 40 muscles that can make thousands of facial expressions. Unless, of course, if you've had a lot of plastic surgery done, maybe you can only make 7. Anyway, so here's what happens. When we take 12 of those 40-some-odd muscles and we put them into a smile, your brain is saying there must be something good happening out there for him to be smiling. So the brain gives you an increase in those 4 feel-good chemicals. I like to say it this way, is that actually the muscles are actually like a light switch. Those 12 smile muscles are telling your brain, hey, I'm happy, give me a dose. You're probably thinking, so Daryl, are you saying by simply smiling, it's like a light switch and it makes you feel better? I can't believe that. Well, guess what? It's true. There's been a study done on it. In Würzburg, Germany, Fritz Strack, this professor, he did what was called the famous pencil study. And here's what he did. He took participants and he wired the brains to measure those chemicals. And then he told the participants, because this is what scientists do when they're doing a study, they don't tell you really what they're studying. It's to kind of, you know, keep it in a certain way where you can't influence the outcome. So he told the participants, we are trying to figure out how people have lost the use of their arms and hands, how maybe to use a pencil in their mouth, yeah? So he had them biting on a pencil in all different formats. And here's what he found, is that when people bit a pencil, like the smile, that actually what happened, they saw an increase in those 4 feel-good chemicals. So this suggests in a very strong way that when you're feeling stress, when you're feeling anxiety, if you just put on a smile, it's going to help you to deal with that stress. So now let me share with you some of these specific benefits. As I started to say, it reduces stress, it lowers your blood pressure, and boosts your immune system. As a matter of fact, you basically live longer. Now, there was another study done I want to share with you at Wayne University. At Wayne University, what they looked at, this professor, he took baseball cards from players from the 50s, and he looked at what their life expectancy was when they passed on. He took one pile of cards and made the pile where people had a nice big smile. Then there was the players who had a men's in the between, a little grin. And then there was the third where they didn't smile at all, a little sourpusses. Now, he looked at when they actually passed away, these players. Now here's what's interesting. The players that had no smile, their average age was 72.9 years. The ones where there was a nice little grin was 74.9, but the ones that had a nice big smile, the average life expectancy was 79.9 years. If you look at that, that's a 7-year spread, which suggests, once again, by you smiling, it reduces your stress, you can deal with anxiety, you basically live longer. Now, I have a suggestions I give to all my audiences when it comes to this, that if you ever find yourself in a confrontation with a colleague, an employee, a customer, whatever it is, instead of getting engaged with that and robbing your joy and getting stressed, what you should do is just smile at them. Now, here's what happens. While you're smiling, you're living longer. They're getting more upset while you're smiling at them, which means they get more stressed and they die quicker, which will make you smile more. Do you see how that works? You just smile them to death. All right, now here's the next thing. Happier people who smile more are actually happier at their job. And if they're happier at their job, they're actually more productive. So this smile thing is not just a bunch of hula stuff and airy-fairy. No, this actually does help companies and businesses and their bottom line. See, let me share with you something. They have found in this study done by Harvard Business Review that people who are happier at their job, they will actually work 80% of their work week on specific tasks related to their jobs. Whereas people who are unhappy, they work only 40% during the week on tasks. That's 3 days during the week that an unhappy employee is not working on task-related jobs. They're probably looking for another job. See, that's not good. So that hurts business. They also find that when your employees are happier, the employees will actually work an additional 15 days per year. Why? Because they're not calling in sick, trying to take a vacation day. So when you have happy employees, they actually will produce more. According to Jessica Price Jones, she wrote this book, Happiness at Work. She found that happy employees are 180% more energized, happier with their jobs, more motivated, and of course, the bottom line is 50% more productive. So smiling is also big business for people. Here's the other thing I like to say, that they found actually people who are smiling more are actually more attractive. Which, you know, some of us, we know people that not smiling isn't even an option. They should smile all the time. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, let me show you a couple of pictures. Here, look, even if you have no teeth, doesn't that guy look good? Smiling makes you look better. You know what? We spend so much time getting dressed in the morning and putting on great clothes, and ladies, the makeup and the thinking. Listen, put on a smile. It doesn't cost anything. You'll look better. Here's the last thing I want to share with you, is it actually increases your wealth. Now, I could spend a lot of time talking about how people who smile more are more attractive. They get promoted more in their businesses, because who wants to promote a sourpuss? There's so many studies that have been done on when you smile, you literally are more successful in prestige and financially. But I'm going to just share with you one thing to really help bring this home for you. And for all the salespeople out there, this is really important. Studies have been done that when we smile and somebody smiles back, remember those 4 feel-good chemicals I talked about? One of them is oxytocin. This chemical is called the love chemical. This is like, well, when you're in love, but also with parents. That's when it's really the highest. Parents with a child, oxytocin through the roof. But here's what they found, that when 2 people smile at each other, their oxytocin level goes up. which actually helps each other trust the other one more so. So when you think about it in business with customers, in our sales profession, that by you smile, that shouldn't even not be an option. I mean, we should be smiling whenever we're interacting with our customers. It's kind of like a dog. Like I have 2 dogs. Like when you look at dogs and they want to approach another dog and let the other dog know, hey, I want to get to know you. And like they're welcoming that dog. What do? I mean, some audiences, they say, oh, smell the butt. No, that's the second date. What they actually do is wag the tail, right? So here's what I'm thinking. We as human beings, the equivalent to the tail wagging is our smiling. It's letting the other person know you're approachable. You want to get to know them. Now, at the same time, the oxytocin is going up. Here's one other thing about that good old oxytocin. When that goes up, so does trust. And that's important in business. Let me share with you a study to really bring this home. In Wales, at Bangor University, they had these participants, they put them in a room, and they're going to play with a virtual player. These are the virtual players. Now, the one player, and they were playing for money. Now, the one player, they could choose, the participants had a okay smile. Then the other player had a nice big smile. Now, the participants knew the skill level of these 2 virtual players. This player, the skill wasn't too good at playing the game, which meant the participants had a better chance of winning more money. Whereas with the high smiling guy, he actually had better skill at the game, which meant the participants had a higher chance of losing money. Guess where the majority of the people, who they chose the most? It was this one smiling, which suggests that if you're going to lose money, at least you want to feel good in the process. But the truth is, what happens is because with that nice big smile, there's a trust factor that goes on. There's a connection. And I'll tell you this one last thing about how important this is. When I was doing all this research about smiling and how it impacts our lives, I came across some baby pictures in my studies. And it just look, isn't that cute? And one of the things that really blew my mind is I found this photo of a sonogram baby, a 3D thing. And this is what I saw. Do you see a smile in that face? Here, I got another one for you. Look at this. Now, when I saw this, I had an aha moment. That who we are as human beings is designed to smile. And somehow in the process of making our lives work and paying our bills and trying to put out fires, we lose touch of who we really are. And who we really are, why we're here, is to have a life worth smiling about. So as I like to say, I want to thank you for watching this, and thank you for David. And of course, don't forget to keep smiling.